Alien bodies in Congress, ancient skulls, and secret Vatican vaults. What if the truth about aliens has been right in front of us? For the first time in 50 years, the words non-human biologics echoed inside the US Congress, and they didn't come from a movie script. In 2023, the US Congress officially held a hearing where the existence of aliens wasn't just hinted at, it was spoken outright. Under oath, former intelligence officer David Grush stated that the US government has retrieved non-human biologics from crash sites. Not theories, not speculation. Biologics, bodies. He didn't flinch when questioned, and the room didn't laugh. What made this hearing even more explosive was what followed just weeks later. Two strange, mummified bodies were displayed in front of Mexican Congress. Small, brittle, and undeniably odd, the figures had 3 fingers on each hand, long limbs, and oversized skulls. X-rays showed eggs inside one of them. They looked like what the world calls aliens. Scientists were split, some called them hoaxes, others pointed to carbon dating, which placed them at over 1,000 years old. The timing? Too perfect to ignore. One government after another suddenly lifting the curtain. Together, the testimony in Washington and the mummies in Mexico painted a chilling picture. Maybe the truth was never out there. It's been here all along. Hidden in vaults, examined in labs, and now slowly entering public view. And the biggest question remains, why now? Why reveal all this now after decades of silence? In the early 2000s, a man hiking in the Rhodope Mountains of Bulgaria stumbled across a skull like nothing he'd ever seen. It had 6 cavities, no mouth, and was far smaller and lighter than any known human or animal. The eyes, huge and round, dominating most of the face, local archaeologists couldn't identify it. No creature in their records came close. Some suggested it might belong to an undiscovered species or even an ancient deformity, but others quietly entertained another possibility. That it wasn't from Earth at all. What fueled the mystery even more was what was found with it. A small metallic object, shaped like a disc. No one could explain its purpose. The skull was eventually taken for further research and then vanished. It hasn't been seen since. Some say it was hidden, others think it was stolen. To this day, scientists argue about whether the skull was organic, synthetic, or something in between. And if it really came from space, then why was it buried deep in an ancient mountain range thousands of miles from any known crash site? Thousands of miles away in Utah's desert, stories of otherworldly visitors are carved directly into stone. The petroglyphs of Sego Canyon go back at least 8,000 years, and they show something deeply unsettling. Tall, thin beings with no arms, giant eyes, and heads far too large for their bodies. Some have antenna-like projections, others seem to float. Local tribes never claim to have made them. In fact, many Native American oral traditions speak of sky people or star beings that came from above. The match is chilling. What's strange is that these carvings aren't isolated. Similar figures appear all across the American Southwest and beyond, in caves, on cliffs, in places people weren't supposed to live. They didn't hunt these figures and they didn't worship them. It's as if they were trying to record something they'd seen. The Sego Canyon petroglyphs have been studied for years, and no one has been able to explain them away as ordinary humans or animals. When the drawings are this old, this consistent, and this alien-looking, it's hard not to ask, who were they really trying to show us? In the hills of Jalisco, Mexico, farmers and diggers began unearthing hundreds of clay artifacts that defied every rule of ancient art. These weren't typical statues of gods, animals, or humans. They looked like something else entirely. Long-limbed, bug-eyed creatures holding tools, standing next to craft-like objects, or interacting with human figures. Many of the artifacts show what appears to be space helmets, control panels, even surgeries. Some figurines are so detailed, they show large heads with almond-shaped eyes and fingers longer than any humans. They've been dubbed the Jalisco aliens, and while mainstream archaeologists often avoid them, the collection has grown too large to ignore. The figurines were dated to over 1,000 years ago, long before electricity, aviation, or even telescopes. Yet they feature beings that look strikingly like modern interpretations of extraterrestrials. The question is, how could a civilization with no concept of outer space imagine these figures so precisely? Skeptics say they're fakes, but the sheer volume and consistency raise doubts. They weren't sold to tourists. They were buried deep, found far from trade routes, and often alongside standard relics. Were these just myths shaped in clay? Or did these ancient people actually witness something that left them trying to recreate what they saw, with their own hands. Deep in a Peruvian cave near Cusco, researchers stumbled upon something that looked like it came from a science fiction set, a severed, mummified hand with only 3 fingers. But these weren't just any fingers. They were long, bony, and far thicker than a human's, with strange joint structures and cartilage patterns not found in known species. Alongside the hand were elongated skull fragments and an oddly shaped skull cap. Local legends had always spoken of sky visitors who walked differently and didn't look human. This find seemed to echo those stories. When X-rays of the hand were made public, things got weirder. The bones were real. The tissue was real. It wasn't plastic or molded clay. It had veins and joint sockets. Some independent labs even dated it back over 1,000 years. But the anatomy didn't match humans, monkeys, or any known animal from the region. Some researchers claimed it belonged to an unknown primate. Others refused to speculate. Despite the mystery, the specimen was quietly taken into private hands for further study and has rarely been seen since. It raises a disturbing possibility. What if this isn't the only one? What if ancient Peruvians really did have contact with beings whose biology was close, but not quite human? In the ruins of Palenque, Mexico, inside the tomb of the ancient Mayan king Pakal, lies one of the most controversial carvings ever found. On the stone sarcophagus lid is a detailed scene that, to many, looks nothing like a religious or ceremonial image. It looks like someone piloting a machine. Pakal is shown lying back, his hands working controls, his feet pressing against pedals, surrounded by strange objects that resemble tubing, fire, and even exhaust. Some say it looks like he's strapped into a rocket. Mainstream archaeologists insist it's symbolic, a depiction of the king descending into the underworld. But even decades later, no one has fully decoded every symbol carved into the panel. The shape of the structure, the positioning of the body, and the presence of what appear to be mechanical parts don't help the conventional explanations. Supporters of the ancient astronaut theory believe this isn't a myth, it's a memory. That the carving represents a real being, possibly not even human, operating something far ahead of its time. The Mayans were master astronomers. They built observatories, tracked planets, and aligned temples with starlight. So, what if this carving wasn't just ceremonial? What if it was their way of preserving what they saw? Technology from above, etched forever in stone. For years, rumors have swirled about what's locked inside the Vatican's highly restricted archives. One of the most shocking claims? That an ancient manuscript, hidden for centuries, contains sketches of beings that don't look remotely human. One leaked image shows pages filled with faded script, beside it a strange drawing of a large-headed, thin-limbed figure with almond-shaped eyes. It's the classic gray alien, drawn in ink, on what looks like a centuries-old page. No one has officially confirmed the document's authenticity, the Vatican hasn't commented. But the detail of the sketch is uncanny, especially considering its supposed age. The idea that someone hundreds of years ago could have drawn something so close to modern alien reports raises serious questions. Did they make it up? Or did they see something? Some theorists believe these texts were part of a private collection, records of knowledge the church didn't want widely known. Others think the being was real, encountered during a time of exploration, and carefully documented before being locked away. Whether the manuscript is a hoax, a warning, or a clue, it fuels the belief that the Vatican may know far more about visitors from beyond than it's willing to say. Long before the great empires of Babylon and Sumer, a lesser-known culture called the Ubaid thrived in Mesopotamia over 7,000 years ago. When archaeologists uncovered burial sites in Al-Ubaid, what they found didn't look like ancient humans or gods. They found lizard-headed figurines, dozens of them, long faces, slanted eyes, and scaled skin. Some even held babies, wore helmets, or sat in positions of power. They weren't monstrous or symbolic. They were portrayed like leaders or caretakers. What's strange is that these weren't ceremonial gods, and there's no myth explaining them. The figurines came from everyday settlements mixed with tools and domestic items. Why would an ancient people create such detailed models of reptilian beings, unless they believed they were real? The lizardmen theories exploded from there. Some say they were reptilian aliens, possibly the same type mentioned in modern encounters. Others believe they were hybrids, creatures that interacted with early humans or guided them somehow. The truth is, the Ubaid people left no written records behind. Just these figures, staring forward, their gaze frozen in clay. Did they witness something the rest of history buried, or were they trying to warn us about something we'd eventually see again? This strange humanoid figure was reportedly found deep in the mountains of South America, near an isolated cave system rarely explored by researchers. Locals claimed it had been hidden for years, sealed beneath collapsed rock. When it was recovered, the body was sent to a private laboratory for examination. Scientists noted the unusually long limbs, narrow torso, and oversized head, features not consistent with any known human or primate. The tissue was dry but preserved, and internal scans revealed a skeletal structure unlike anything in medical records. No clear explanation was given, and shortly after the study, access to the specimen was restricted. Only a few images remain, sparking questions that no one seems willing to answer. In 2017, researchers in Peru unveiled something so strange it instantly made headlines: small mummified bodies with elongated skulls, 3 long fingers on each hand, and oddly shaped rib cages. Found near the Nazca lines, those massive ancient geoglyphs only visible from the sky, the bodies looked nothing like typical humans. One of them was named Maria, and her structure baffled even experienced scientists. CT scans showed internal organs, bones, and even skin tissue. Carbon dating placed them at around 1,000 years old. Photos and X-rays were made public. Some experts said the bodies were a hoax, pieced together from animal bones. But others, including independent labs in Mexico and Russia, claimed the DNA didn't fully match humans, or any known species. The story refuses to die down. Every test seems to bring more questions than answers. If these beings are real, they change everything we know about life on Earth. Were they visitors, experiments, or an ancient species we never knew existed? The Nazca mummies may be the closest thing the public has seen to real, physical evidence of non-human intelligence, and yet, no one seems able to explain them with certainty. Deep within the restricted archives of the Cairo Museum, rumors speak of a mummy unlike any other. Photos leaked years ago show a small, desiccated body with an abnormally large skull, slanted eye sockets, and a jaw structure that doesn't match any known human form. The skin appears leathery, the bones delicate and thin. Whispers claim it was found in a lesser-known tomb near Saqqara, and quietly transported to the museum without public documentation. Some insiders believe it was labeled as a fetal anomaly to avoid attention. But those who've allegedly examined it argue otherwise. Anatomical features don't line up with fetal proportions. Even the number of vertebrae is said to differ. A few researchers who saw the mummy in person later spoke anonymously, saying it gave off the feeling that it didn't belong, almost like it was added to history, not part of it. The museum refuses to comment. The artifact isn't listed in any public collection, but the photos persist, circulating through UFO researchers and independent archaeologists. If the mummy is authentic and truly ancient, it raises a terrifying question. Were ancient Egyptians simply burying their dead, or preserving visitors from somewhere far beyond the Nile? In 1995, grainy black and white footage appeared that claimed to show the autopsy of an alien being recovered from the infamous 1947 Roswell crash. The body on the table had a large head, swollen abdomen, and long fingers. Surgeons in biohazard suits moved with careful precision, examining its organs under intense lights. The footage shocked the world. Some dismissed it immediately as a staged hoax. Others weren't so sure. The film was said to be retrieved from old military archives by a former cameraman, and for years it was debated by video experts, pathologists, and skeptics. Some found inconsistencies in the frame rate and techniques, but others pointed out anatomical details that would be difficult to fake in the 1990s, especially using only practical effects. Despite the controversy, the Roswell autopsy remains one of the most widely discussed alien videos in history. Was it fake to mislead the public, or was it released as controlled truth, masked in doubt? To this day, no one has definitively proven where the footage came from or how it was made. Whether real or not, it helped reignite interest in the original Roswell crash, and reminded the world that something strange really did fall from the sky in New Mexico. In the heart of Guatemala's ancient Maya site of Quirigua stands a colossal stone carving, Stela F. Towering over 20 feet, it shows a figure with facial features that seem oddly non-human. The eyes are too large, the jawline elongated, and the headdress resembles more of a helmet than ceremonial wear. While most Mayan art is deeply symbolic, this statue looks different. The proportions, the details, it almost feels like a portrait, not a myth. Some archaeologists insist it's a stylized depiction of a ruler or deity. but others, including independent researchers, point to its stark contrast from neighboring stelae. What's even more compelling is that ancient Quirigua has multiple references to sky beings and visitors who taught through sound and light. These weren't vague ideas, they were carved in stone. Could this be a tribute to something or someone that the ancient Maya encountered? A being so unlike them that it had to be memorialized in the hardest material available? The mystery of Quirigua's alien-looking statue remains one of the most unexplained finds in Mesoamerican archaeology. Between 1952 and 1969, the U.S. Air Force ran a now declassified program called Project Blue Book. Its mission: investigate reports of unidentified flying objects. Over 12,000 cases were logged. Most were explained: weather balloons, aircraft, or illusions. But 701 cases remain unsolved. And these weren't vague sightings. Pilots, military personnel, and radar operators reported objects moving at impossible speeds, making right-angle turns and vanishing without a trace. One of the most famous cases involved multiple jet fighters scrambled to intercept a glowing object seen on radar near Washington, D.C. It outran the jets, then disappeared, only to reappear minutes later miles away. These reports were documented, filed, and quietly shelved. Even after the program ended, many involved believed it was only the public face of a much deeper operation. Some of the 701 cases contain reports of craft descending into the ocean, landing briefly on remote terrain, or hovering near nuclear facilities. The files are public now. Anyone can read them, but what they suggest is something that no government has been able to fully explain. We're being watched, and have been for a long time. In 2003, a researcher exploring a ghost town in Chile's Atacama Desert discovered something truly bizarre: a tiny mummified skeleton just over 6 inches long. Despite its size, it had a skull that appeared far too large, with an elongated cranium, slanted eye sockets, and hardened bones, features that didn't seem fetal or infant-like. The skeleton, soon nicknamed Ada, had a humanoid structure but raised immediate questions. How could a body this small be so developed? When the remains were brought to medical experts and later analyzed by geneticists at Stanford, the results were even more puzzling. The DNA showed that Ada was human, but with mutations never seen before. She had genes associated with dwarfism, scoliosis, and other skeletal disorders, but the combination was so rare that scientists couldn't say for certain what they were looking at. Some argued it was a deformed stillborn fetus. Others weren't convinced. What truly deepened the mystery was the condition of the bones. They showed signs of being 6 to 8 years old at the time of death, despite the skeleton's tiny size. How could a 6-inch being live for years? No known syndrome explains that. Some believe Ada is evidence of a failed cloning experiment. Others think she's a hybrid, part human, part something else. Even after DNA testing and X-rays, Ada's story remains unsolved. A being too small to exist, yet too real to ignore. In a remote mountain cave on the Chinese-Tibetan border, a 1938 expedition led by Professor Chi Pu-Te discovered something no one expected: hundreds of stone discs buried among ancient graves. Each disc was about a foot across, carved with tiny spiral grooves running from the center to the edge. But these weren't decorative. Inside the grooves were microscopic symbols, too precise to be accidental, yet unlike any known language. The discs became known as the Drapa Stones, named after a local legend of small, star-born people who fell from the skies and couldn't return. According to some reports, when the symbols were analyzed decades later, they told a story of extraterrestrial travelers who crashed in the region thousands of years ago. The surviving members, the Dropa, were said to have lived peacefully with the locals before dying off. Skeptics dismiss the story as a myth. The Chinese government has never officially confirmed the discovery, and most of the original artifacts have reportedly vanished. But a few photos exist, showing the discs and their strange, worn engravings. Some independent researchers claim to have seen them in private collections. If real, the Drapa Stones could be the oldest recorded attempt at alien communication on Earth. Not carved into temples or shouted into the sky, but pressed into rock and buried, waiting for someone to understand, and maybe that someone is just now catching up. In 1996, near the Russian town of Kishtim in the Ural Mountains, a local woman named Tamara Prosverina claimed to have found a small, weak creature near a cemetery. It was barely alive, wrapped in rags, and unlike anything she had seen. It stood only about 10 inches tall, had a soft domed head, slanted eyes, a tiny mouth, and a strangely fragile body. She called it Alyoshenka. Locals thought it was just a malformed child, until doctors took a look. None of them could explain what it was. Shortly after the discovery, the being died. Its body was reportedly taken by authorities for examination, but that's where things get murky. Eyewitnesses claimed it was brought to a lab in Chelyabinsk, and X-rays were done. What shocked the examiners was the lack of a navel and internal organs that didn't match any known human. Then, the body vanished. Official records? Gone. Scientists who had spoken anonymously suddenly stopped talking. Some locals believe the government took over the case. Photos of the creature still circulate, and multiple witnesses confirm its existence. To this day, no one has explained what Alyoshenko truly was. Some claim radiation from the nearby Mayak facility caused a genetic mutation. Others believe it was something else entirely, an entity not from Earth, lost and found in the wrong place. Whatever the truth is, the Kishtim dwarf remains one of the strangest and most mysterious alien discoveries in modern Russian history. In the dry sands of Paracas, Peru, archaeologists uncovered one of the most baffling discoveries in ancient history. Over 300 elongated human skulls buried in a massive necropolis. Unlike traditional cranial deformation caused by head binding, many of these skulls showed structural features that couldn't be explained away so easily. They had 25% larger cranial volume, different bone density, and even unusual suture patterns. In short, they weren't just stretched, they were built differently. Some skulls had only one parietal plate instead of the usual two. Others had eye sockets that were larger, and holes in unexpected places. Early theories proposed ritual deformation, but forensic experts quickly pointed out that the changes weren't just cosmetic, they were anatomical. DNA tests on several samples revealed something even more strange: mitochondrial DNA that didn't match any known human lineage. Some samples showed mutations never before seen in human history. Who were these people? Were they an isolated genetic group, a lost civilization, or something else? The region itself is famous for the Nazca Lines, massive ground drawings only visible from above. Could the skulls and the geoglyphs be connected? Some believe the people of Paracas had direct contact with beings from beyond Earth, or perhaps were descended from them. Deep in the heart of the Amazon rainforest, in a remote location that even the most experienced explorers struggle to identify, something chilling was caught on camera. This photo, spine-tingling and baffling, shows what appears to be a crashed alien spacecraft, surrounded by humanoid figures unlike anything ever seen before. The dense jungle, shrouded in mystery, has reportedly been a hotspot for strange occurrences. Whispers of unnatural lights, bizarre noises, and now this. Skeptics claim it's an elaborate hoax, while others believe this could be the greatest discovery of our time. Scientists have been left speechless. Is it real or fake? Could this image be proof of extraterrestrial contact? There is still no answer. While this strange scene raises countless questions, it's not the only bizarre discovery on Earth. Across the globe, people have found alien-like objects that defy explanation. Let's take a closer look. In the vast Namibian desert, 2011 brought a mystery straight out of science fiction. A metallic sphere 3 feet in diameter and weighing about 13 pounds was discovered in a remote area after locals heard a deafening explosion in the sky. Strangely, it wasn't jagged or broken like typical space debris. Instead, it was perfectly smooth and hollow, with a texture that looked like it had been forged with advanced technology. Authorities speculated it could be a fuel tank from a satellite or a piece of rocket debris, but its flawless condition raised eyebrows. How could something so delicate survive re-entry into Earth's atmosphere without a scratch? Even stranger, no international space agencies claimed ownership, and its design didn't match any known spacecraft part. Locals whispered of extraterrestrial origins, while skeptics debated secret military projects. To this day, the mysterious sphere rests in silence, leaving its origins a cosmic enigma. What else might fall from the skies? Across centuries and continents, reports of a mysterious substance known as star jelly have intrigued and baffled scientists and storytellers alike. This gelatinous, translucent material has been found scattered across fields and forests, often after meteor showers or sightings of strange lights in the sky. It's slimy, odorless, and seems to dissolve into nothingness within hours. Local legends link it to falling stars or extraterrestrial visitors, but no definitive explanation exists. In 2013, a case in Philadelphia caught attention when a family discovered star jelly on their lawn after a bright streak lit up the night sky. Samples were collected, and tests revealed no DNA or organic material. It wasn't plant-based, animal-based, or even fully synthetic. Speculation ranged from frog spawn ejected by birds to atmospheric phenomena or, as some believe, residue from alien craft. Despite modern science, star jelly remains an unsolved mystery, an enigma tied to the heavens above. July 2021 brought a dazzling spectacle to the skies of Norway when an enormous green meteor lit up the night and roared across the heavens. Witnesses described the light as intensely bright, with a vivid emerald hue that cast eerie shadows across the landscape. Moments later, a thunderous rumble reverberated through the region, shaking windows and startling residents for miles around. The meteor, estimated to be moving at over 36,000 miles per hour, was so luminous it was captured by webcams across southern Norway. Experts believe a fragment of the meteorite likely landed in Finnmark forest, but locating it proved challenging in the dense, rugged terrain. What made this meteor so unique was its color, a radiant green caused by nickel and magnesium burning during atmospheric entry. While some called it a rare cosmic gift, others whispered about the possibility of something more. Was it just a natural phenomenon, or could this streak of green light be a sign of something beyond our understanding? The small mining town of Dalnogorsk, Russia, became the center of a chilling UFO mystery on January 29, 1986. Residents reported seeing a glowing, reddish sphere traveling silently across the sky. The object seemed to falter, crash landing into a rocky hill known as Height 611. When investigators arrived, they found no remnants of a traditional craft, no fuselage, no recognizable engine parts, but instead, peculiar metallic debris scattered across the site. The fragments included ultra-thin metallic fibers, spherical beads, and blackened slag that resisted melting at extreme temperatures. Analysis revealed unusual properties. Some materials contained rare earth elements and compounds that couldn't be easily replicated with known technology at the time. Witnesses claimed their watches malfunctioned near the site, and there were reports of strange health effects in those who visited the area. Speculation ranged from a military test gone awry to extraterrestrial origins. Even now, the Dalnogorsk debris remains one of Russia's most intriguing UFO incidents, leaving us to question what really fell from the skies that winter night. In December 2013, a remote field near Chualar, California became the epicenter of a modern-day mystery. Overnight, an intricate and massive crop circle appeared in the field, drawing crowds of onlookers and intense media coverage. The design wasn't random, it featured geometric patterns so precise they seemed almost machine-made. Witnesses reported strange lights in the sky the night before, fueling rumors of extraterrestrial involvement. What set this crop circle apart was its complexity, patterns resembling binary codes and mathematical sequences. Cryptographers speculated it might contain a message, though no clear translation emerged. Theories ranged from advanced pranksters to secret military tests, and of course, alien visitors. Just days later, a tech company claimed responsibility, stating it was a publicity stunt, but skeptics weren't convinced. The sheer scale and precision of the design left many wondering if humanity had truly decoded all its secrets, or if something more was at play. As we ponder signs left on Earth's surface, our gaze often turns upward, where fragments from the cosmos carry their own cryptic stories. In 1911, a fiery explosion tore across the skies over Egypt, ending with a loud detonation near the village of El Nakhla. What remained after the dust settled was a collection of dark, stony fragments, now known as the Nakhla meteorite. What made these rocks extraordinary wasn't just their Martian origin but the tantalizing secrets they carried. The meteorite revealed traces of water trapped within its minerals, hinting at ancient Martian reservoirs that might have once supported life. Legends say the falling fragments killed a dog on impact, though no evidence supports this claim. It remains a myth entwined with the meteorite's mystique. Modern analyses uncovered organic molecules, raising the question of whether Mars once hosted life forms, or if these compounds arrived through cosmic processes. The Nakhla meteorite bridges a celestial gap, carrying pieces of another world directly to ours. And yet, it's not the only visitor to do so. More recently, a meteorite found in Somalia revealed equally otherworldly surprises. Recently, meteorite hunters in Somalia stumbled upon a massive celestial fragment, weighing over 30,000 pounds, near the town of El Ali. Though its sheer size was already remarkable, the meteorite's true value lay hidden within two previously unknown minerals. These discoveries, named ellalite and elconstantonite, stunned scientists, as their chemical compositions had never been observed in nature or the lab. The meteorite, likely forged billions of years ago in the violent crucible of space, seemed to carry a piece of the cosmos's raw creativity. How many other unknown elements or minerals might still be hidden in similar fragments across the planet? Beyond its scientific importance, the meteorite raised deeper questions about the materials shaping our universe. The alien meteorite from Somalia reminds us that Earth is but a small part of a far greater cosmic tapestry. Every fragment that lands here carries with it a story, a connection to a universe that continues to reveal its secrets, one piece at a time. In the aftermath of World War II, the skies over Sweden became a stage for a chilling mystery. Beginning in May 1946, hundreds of unidentified objects streaked across Scandinavia's skies. Dubbed ghost rockets, these cigar-shaped craft glided eerily, leaving no smoke trails or sound. Witnesses described them crashing into lakes, yet recovery efforts turned up nothing but disturbed sediment. Initially thought to be Soviet experiments using captured German technology, the sheer frequency and precision of the sightings baffled investigators. Sweden's military launched investigations but found no concrete answers. Was it a foreign power testing weapons? Or something more elusive? Conspiracy theories abound, with some suggesting extraterrestrial surveillance during a post-war era rife with nuclear testing and geopolitical tension. The ghost rockets faded from the skies but left an enduring legacy. Decades later, another bizarre object, the Betz Mystery Sphere, would spark similar questions about its origin and purpose, this time in the hands of a single family. In 1974, the Betz family of Jacksonville, Florida stumbled upon an object that seemed plucked from a sci-fi thriller. While surveying fire damage on their property, they discovered a metallic sphere about 8 inches in diameter, smooth and perfectly round. Thinking it might be a cannonball, they brought it home, only to realize it was far more mysterious. The sphere behaved inexplicably. When placed on a flat surface, it rolled uphill, changed directions on its own, and emitted strange vibrations and sounds. Scientists and military experts examined it but offered no satisfying explanation. It wasn't radioactive, magnetic, or hollow, yet no one could identify its material or how it was manufactured. Theories range from an advanced satellite component to alien technology, or even a hoax. Despite intense scrutiny, the sphere's secrets remain unsolved. Like the ghost rockets, it left behind more questions than answers, fueling whispers of hidden agendas and suppressed discoveries. And yet, as strange as it was, it pales in comparison to the eerie artifact known as the Star Child skull. Found in a cave in Mexico in the 1930s, the Star Child skull is one of the most perplexing artifacts ever unearthed. The skull's shape is unlike any known human, larger, with shallow eye sockets and an unusually dense bone structure. Tests revealed it to be over 900 years old, and its DNA hinted at something truly extraordinary. A partial match to human genetics, but with anomalies that couldn't be explained. Some researchers speculated it was the skull of a child with a rare condition, but others were convinced it was proof of hybridization between humans and extraterrestrials. The idea of ancient alien contact has long been relegated to fringe theories, yet artifacts like this push the boundaries of what we consider plausible. Was it a human mutation, or evidence of something far more extraordinary? In October 1967, the sleepy fishing village of Shag Harbor, Nova Scotia, became the site of one of the most credible UFO incidents in history. Late that evening, witnesses reported seeing a glowing orange object crash into the harbor waters. Initially dismissed as an airplane crash, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police launched an immediate search and rescue operation. But instead of wreckage, divers discovered something strange. An oily yellow foam floating on the water's surface and no sign of an aircraft. Over the following days, military divers secretly combed the seabed, reportedly locating a submerged object emitting faint lights. What they found remains classified, but witnesses claimed the military presence abruptly withdrew after the object disappeared into the ocean depths. Was it an experimental craft, or something far more advanced than Earth's capabilities? The incident left behind whispers of underwater alien bases, hidden technology, and a government cover-up. From these murky waters, we turn to another terrestrial mystery, the enigmatic Palpa lines of Peru. Often overshadowed by the famous Nazca lines, the Palpa lines in Peru hold their own mysteries. Etched into the Peruvian desert, these massive geoglyphs, some stretching hundreds of feet, depict intricate patterns, animals, and even humanoid figures. Unlike the notorious Nazca lines, many of these are carved into hillsides, making them visible from the ground and air, a feat that seems to defy ancient engineering. What's curious is that the palpa lines predate the Nazca culture, suggesting they were created by an earlier, less documented civilization. Some researchers speculate they were astronomical calendars, while others believe they marked sacred sites. Conspiracy theorists have a different take. Could they have been messages or landing guides for extraterrestrial visitors? The humanoid figures resemble depictions of ancient astronauts seen in other cultures, fueling theories of alien contact long before modern history. From markings in the earth, to traces of the past etched in bone, we move to a haunting discovery high in the Himalayas. At nearly 16,000 feet above sea level in the Himalayan mountains lies Rupkund Lake, a small glacial body of water with an unsettling secret. When the snow melts, it reveals a chilling sight, hundreds of human skeletons scattered along the lake's edge. Discovered in the 1940s, the remains date back over 1,200 years. But their origins, and their cause of death, have remained shrouded in mystery. Initially, scientists believed the victims were travelers caught in a sudden avalanche. However, further analysis revealed something stranger. Most of the skeletons showed signs of blunt force trauma to their skulls, as if struck by large, round objects. Could a freak hailstorm have been responsible, or was this evidence of a violent ritual gone wrong? Conspiracy theories suggest an ancient sacrifice, while others whisper of a cursed expedition, or even alien intervention. With DNA testing revealing diverse ancestries among the skeletons, including groups from as far as the Mediterranean, Rupkund Lake raises more questions than it answers. What was this place? A sacred site, a battleground, or something entirely otherworldly? In the late 1940s, as the world grappled with the dawn of the nuclear age, another mystery blazed across the skies. Over New Mexico, near some of the most sensitive military sites in the United States, strange green fireballs began appearing. These glowing phenomena streaked through the night sky, eerily silent and unnervingly bright. They weren't meteors, at least not ordinary ones. Their paths were too flat, their speeds inconsistent, and their vivid emerald glow uncharacteristic of natural celestial objects. The US government launched Project Twinkle to study the fireballs, but results were inconclusive. Some speculated they were Soviet reconnaissance devices, testing America's air defenses during the Cold War. Others believed they might be extraterrestrial probes attracted to the region's nuclear activity. To this day, no definitive explanation exists. These green specters left an air of unease, one echoed decades later by another enigmatic object that fell to Earth, a metallic fragment found on a beach in Western Australia in 2023. On a quiet morning in July 2023, locals in Greenhead, Western Australia, stumbled upon something extraordinary. A massive metallic object, charred and weathered, lay half buried in the sand along the coastline. At nearly 10 feet tall and resembling the remnants of a futuristic craft, it looked like it had fallen from the heavens. Scientists quickly identified it as likely space debris, possibly from an Indian rocket launch. But there was something odd. Its perfect cylindrical shape and intricate construction didn't align with any known designs in public aerospace records. The Australian Space Agency investigated but shared few details, sparking speculation. Could it have been a fragment of classified technology, or something beyond human engineering? Adding to the intrigue, locals reported strange lights in the sky days before its discovery. The object was whisked away for analysis, leaving behind whispers of hidden knowledge. Just a year earlier, another mysterious sphere had captivated onlookers in Veracruz, Mexico, further fueling questions about what might be falling to Earth. In 2022, a small town in Veracruz, Mexico, became the center of global intrigue when a strange metallic orb crashed into a tree during a thunderstorm. The sphere, about 4 feet in diameter, appeared seamless and eerily smooth, almost as if crafted by hands far more advanced than ours. Witnesses described seeing strange lights in the sky shortly before the crash, sparking immediate theories of extraterrestrial involvement. When local authorities arrived, they were equally baffled. The orb bore no markings or seams to indicate human construction. It was hollow yet unusually heavy for its size, and preliminary analysis revealed materials not commonly found in local industries. Theories ranged from a spy satellite component to alien reconnaissance technology. Strangely, the object disappeared before further testing could be done, reportedly taken by unnamed officials. Was it classified government tech, or something otherworldly deliberately removed to keep its secrets hidden? Like the green fireballs and the Western Australian debris, the Veracruz orb leaves us wondering what might be out there. and what might already be here. In 2020, a team of archaeologists made a discovery in the Peruvian desert that shook the scientific world to its core. Hidden beneath the sands near the enigmatic Nazca lines, they unearthed a tomb containing what appeared to be the mummified remains of humanoid beings. Yet these were unlike any skeletons ever recorded. The beings were small, with elongated heads and disproportionately long fingers, almost resembling something straight out of a sci-fi thriller. Initially dismissed as an elaborate hoax, the discovery gained credibility when radiocarbon dating suggested the mummies were over 1,000 years old. X-rays revealed internal bone structures that didn't match human anatomy, further deepening the mystery. Skeptics argue the skeletons could be clever fabrications, while others suggest they may belong to an unknown species or perhaps even extraterrestrials. The Peruvian government has restricted access to the site, fueling conspiracy theories that the truth is being hidden. Were these skeletons revered by the Nazca civilization as divine beings? Or is there a darker secret beneath the sands? As scientists continue their analysis, the world watches, caught between skepticism and the tantalizing possibility that we've unearthed visitors from another world. On a quiet July night in 2011, a brilliant fireball lit up the skies over Morocco before shattering into fragments near the village of Ticint. Unlike most meteorites, the Ticint meteorite wasn't just another space rock. Scientists quickly identified it as one of the rarest kinds, a Martian meteorite. With its glossy black fusion crust and interior speckled with Martian minerals, the Ticint brought with it a piece of another world. What truly set the Ticint apart was its trapped gases, tiny bubbles that matched the Martian atmosphere perfectly. Within its fractures, scientists found organic molecules, sparking debates about the origins of life and whether Mars could have once supported it. While the Ticint meteorite doesn't carry whispers of conspiracy, it serves as a humbling reminder of our place in the universe. Every fragment of rock that falls to Earth carries a story, a piece of the vast cosmic puzzle we've only just begun to understand. But not all cosmic events are as easily explained. Some, like the Vela incident, remain shadowed in secrecy. On September 22, 1979, a U.S. Vela satellite orbiting Earth detected something strange over the South Atlantic. A double flash of light, the signature of a nuclear detonation. Yet no nation claimed responsibility, and no blast site was ever found. Dubbed the Vela incident, it sparked theories ranging from clandestine nuclear testing to an unexplained celestial event. Military investigations suggested the flashes might have been caused by natural phenomena, but many remain unconvinced. Witnesses reported strange sightings in the skies near the suspected location, and rumors of unidentified debris in the ocean added fuel to the mystery. Was it a secret weapons test by an unknown power? Or could it have been an extraterrestrial craft malfunctioning in Earth's atmosphere? Decades later, the Vela incident still lingers as a haunting question mark in history. Like the Ticint meteorite and the Nazca tombs, it reminds us of the countless enigmas surrounding our planet, both from within and far beyond the stars. In the remote expanse of the Gobi Desert, strange ring formations etched into the landscape have puzzled researchers for decades. These concentric circles and patterns, some spanning hundreds of feet, are visible only from the air, their precise geometry contrasting sharply with the barren surroundings. While some believe they may have been created by ancient nomadic tribes for unknown rituals, others suggest the patterns are too precise, too deliberate, to be the work of early humans. Satellite images have revealed additional patterns that appear to align with celestial events, raising questions about their purpose. Were they markers for astronomical observations, messages to deities, or even signals to beings from the stars? Adding to the enigma, local legends speak of lights in the desert and sky visitors that frequented the area long before written history. The Gobi patterns seem to whisper secrets from a forgotten time, their purpose just as obscure as the celestial objects that occasionally bring fragments of their mysteries crashing to Earth. Deep in a dusty attic in Mexico, a strange skull was found that would spark decades of mystery, theories, and headlines. It didn't look human, at least not entirely. The skull had a cranial volume far beyond the range of any known human. The eye sockets were shallow and oddly shaped. The back of the skull curved in a way that defied natural bone structure, and there were no sinus cavities. Some claimed it was a deformed child. Others were sure it was something far more otherworldly. They called it the Star Child skull. What made it stand out wasn't just its shape, it was how the bone itself was structured. It was abnormally thin, yet incredibly strong. Researchers noted fibers inside the bone matrix, something never seen in human or animal bones before. And then, there was the DNA. Some experts said the DNA was too degraded. Others believed it was because it didn't originate from Earth. Over the years, the Starchild skull became a cornerstone of ancient alien theories. Some researchers pointed out that the skull's cranial volume was 1,600 cubic centimeters, over 200 more than the average adult. That would suggest a brain too large for any normal human. Could it belong to a hybrid being? A mix between a human and something extraterrestrial? Critics, of course, rushed to label it a mutation, a developmental disorder, or even a hoax. But none of them could fully explain all the anomalies in one neat conclusion. Today the skull still exists, stored away, but not forgotten. It's one of those rare artifacts that defies easy answers. Not religious, not cultural, not purely scientific, just mysterious. Some say it proves we've been visited. Others believe it hints at a species lost to time. But one thing is certain, it doesn't look like anything we're used to seeing on this planet. In a remote part of Utah lies Skinwalker Ranch, ground zero for some of the strangest sightings ever recorded in the United States. For decades, this patch of land has been crawling with high strangeness. We're talking glowing-eyed humanoids, tall black figures that walk upright like humans but vanish into thin air, and creatures that look like wolves but don't react to bullets or pain. And here's the kicker. Some of it has been caught on infrared cameras monitored by former government contractors and logged in official reports. These aren't just stories, they're documented encounters with beings that don't follow any known rules of biology. Eyewitnesses claim the creatures appear out of thin air, step through portals, or glow under thermal imaging while everything around them stays cold. The property was once under surveillance by a Pentagon-funded project investigating non-human entities. That's not conspiracy, that's declassified. Are these cryptids? Or are we looking at something else entirely? Something not from this world or maybe even this dimension? You'd expect something like this in folklore, but the Fiji mermaid actually existed and was exhibited. It wasn't just bones and wire, it had texture, skin, muscle structure. This disturbing hybrid had the torso of a small primate fused seamlessly with the tail of a fish. It was displayed publicly in the 1800s and people paid to see what they thought was a myth made real. Scientists finally examined it, expecting a hoax but left with more questions. The seams were too clean, the anatomy almost functional. How did two unrelated species get combined in such a way? And why were similar specimens popping up in other countries, under different names? Some researchers suggested it wasn't a hoax but rather a preserved unknown species from the deep. What if these things weren't man-made but discovered? Creatures that live in ocean trenches we've never explored, dragged up accidentally and sold as sideshow monsters? It's not just creepy, it hints at a hidden biology we've never classified. It's only 6 inches tall, but this tiny skeleton from Chile's Atacama Desert is one of the most unsettling discoveries ever made. At first glance it looks fake, a toy maybe, but under X-rays and scans it's real bone, with a skull structure far beyond anything human. It has 10 ribs instead of 12. Its head is shaped like a triangle and its eye sockets are huge. Scientists confirmed it was once alive. The body had lungs, bones, and tissue like any organism. DNA tests revealed some human markers, but also mutations so extreme they couldn't be explained by any known disorder. Researchers tried to play it safe, calling it a child with bone disease. But the skeleton shows signs of someone who lived 6 to 8 years, not a newborn. That alone shattered expectations. So what is it? A mutant, a hybrid, or something older, something that walked here once and left its remains behind? Some locals say it came from the sky. That part can't be proven. But what can be proven is that this being once lived, and it still doesn't fit into any known branch of the human family tree. In the 1880s, in a burial mound near Sayre, Pennsylvania, a group of scientists reportedly uncovered something they weren't prepared for. Human skeletons over 7 feet tall, with bony protrusions above the brows that looked exactly like horns. At first it sounded like a tall tale, but these weren't just rumors. Early photographs of the skulls existed and local newspapers at the time covered the find. The bones were shipped to a museum in Philadelphia, and then vanished without a trace. No official follow-up, no study, nothing. The story went quiet, but the mystery only grew louder. Anatomically, there is no known human population with such characteristics. Horned skulls don't fit into the fossil record, and yet multiple researchers claim they held them in their hands. Some speculate these beings were ritual leaders or an unknown race wiped out by early settlers. Others believe they weren't human at all. Whatever they were, the evidence didn't disappear on its own. Something, or someone, made sure it was never studied again. This one doesn't just live in legend, it was caught, photographed, and examined. In 2007, a strange creature was reportedly trapped alive on a farm in Metepec, Mexico. It had a humanoid shape, hairless skin, massive black eyes, and thin limbs with clawed fingers. It was small, but the level of detail in its structure left scientists baffled. Unlike most cases, this creature was preserved and subjected to lab analysis. X-rays revealed a complex skeleton, with internal organs and bone density that didn't match any known animal. DNA samples were taken, but the results were confusing. Some strands matched known species, but others didn't match anything at all. The story got stranger when the man who allegedly captured the creature died soon after in a suspicious fire. Some said it was coincidence. Others believed the incident was silenced. But the photos remain, clear, detailed, and unsettling. If this wasn't from Earth, it means something else is walking among us. Or at least crashing down now and then, leaving traces we're not supposed to find. Deep beneath the surface of Malta lies the Hal Saflieni Hypogeum, an ancient underground temple carved directly into limestone over 5,000 years ago. But what makes this place legendary isn't just the architecture, it's what was found inside. During excavations in the early 1900s, researchers uncovered a set of skulls with bizarre features: elongated craniums, massive eye sockets, and abnormally shaped jaws. At least 7 of them were so different from the human norm that scientists questioned whether they could even be classified as Homo sapiens. Photos of the skulls still exist, and a few were once displayed in the National Museum of Archaeology in Valletta, until they were quietly removed without explanation. What's more, the Hypogeum is known for its oracle chamber, where certain frequencies create strange auditory effects. Some claim the chamber was designed to alter human consciousness, or communicate with something else. Could these elongated skulls be from a lost human species? Or were they visitors, honored and buried beneath the earth in one of history's oldest temples? In the early 1950s, an unknown creature washed up on the shores of Canvey Island, off the coast of England. It didn't take long before officials realized this wasn't your average marine animal. The creature had reddish, leathery skin, protruding eyes, and 2 thick legs with hoof-like feet. No fins, no gills. And unlike most sea creatures, it had lungs. Another body showed up in 1954, looking almost identical, yet no known sea species matched the anatomy. British authorities documented the incident and took photographs, but no formal explanation ever followed. The remains were reportedly sent for analysis, and then, nothing. Theories started swirling. Some said it was a mutated anglerfish, others thought it was a secret military experiment gone wrong. But the real question is, what was it doing on land? A sea creature with legs and hooves built to walk instead of swim. If it wasn't a hoax, and nothing credible ever proved it was, then we're left with a chilling possibility. Some of the things that live in the ocean weren't made to stay there forever. In April 1977, the Japanese fishing trawler Zuio Maru was cruising near New Zealand when its nets pulled up something truly bizarre. A massive, rotting creature that shocked the entire crew. It measured over 30 feet long, had 4 large paddle-like fins, a lengthy neck over 5 feet, and a small, oddly shaped head. The carcass didn't resemble any known fish, mammal, or shark. In fact, it looked disturbingly similar to a plesiosaur, an aquatic reptile believed to have gone extinct around 65 million years ago. The crew took multiple high-resolution photographs, sketches, and even samples of the tissue before releasing the stinking mass back into the ocean to save their catch from contamination. When the photos reached Japan, the media exploded with headlines like "New Dinosaur Found" and "Sea Monster Discovered." Scientists from Tokyo and Yokohama universities examined the tissue samples and found unusual collagen fibers that didn't match common marine life. Some skeptics argued it was a basking shark in decay, but that explanation failed to account for the long neck and lack of dorsal fin. Others noted that basking sharks don't have vertebral structures matching what the crew described. This wasn't just a curiosity, it was physical evidence of something unknown, something ancient. If this creature wasn't from the fossil record, then it might be part of a living one, a real sea dragon briefly brought to light, then lost back to the depths. In April 1977, a series of late-night sightings in the quiet town of Dover, Massachusetts, launched one of the strangest creature reports in American history. Over a span of just 2 days, multiple teenagers claimed to have seen a pale, hairless humanoid crawling along stone walls and wooded roadsides. Its skin was described as peach-colored and rubbery, with a bulbous, oversized head and enormous, glowing orange eyes. The creature was only about 3 to 4 feet tall, with spindly limbs and no visible ears, nose, or mouth. What made these accounts different from typical urban legends was how consistent the witnesses were. None of them knew each other, yet their descriptions matched perfectly. Police took the reports seriously enough to document them, and the original eyewitness sketches still exist today. Experts have ruled out animals like foals, monkeys, or escaped pets. The creature didn't move like anything native to New England. It wasn't aggressive, just eerily out of place, like it had wandered into the wrong reality. Paranormal researchers have connected the Dover demon to potential extraterrestrial visitations, pointing to its striking resemblance to the classic gray alien often reported in abduction accounts. If that's true, then what was it doing in the woods of Massachusetts that spring night? Some suggest a scouting entity, others think it was an accidental slip between dimensions. Whatever it was, the Dover demon appeared, was seen by credible witnesses, and then vanished, leaving behind only questions and a few chilling sketches. A few years ago, wildlife researchers set up motion-activated cameras deep into Germany's forest. They expected deer or wild boar. What they caught was something else. One photo, snapped just after 2 a.m., showed several pale, hairless humanoids with huge black eyes and thin, bony bodies. They stood upright in a clearing, facing the camera, almost as if they knew they were being watched. Locals called them the Watchers. Some said they looked amphibious. Others swore they matched creatures seen in deep-sea sub-footage. The full footage vanished. Only a few leaked frames remain, and the team who captured them never returned. Since then, strange noises echo through the forest at night, like footsteps, from something that isn't supposed to be there. In the late 1960s, a mysterious frozen body began touring across the United States in a carnival-style trailer exhibit. Encased in a block of ice and labeled as the Minnesota Iceman, the figure appeared to be a hairy, humanoid creature with a smashed face, one bulging eye and broken limbs frozen mid-motion. It was about 6 feet long, heavily built, and looked disturbingly real. Visitors were stunned. Some thought it was a model, but others, especially scientists who saw it up close, weren't so sure. Prominent cryptozoologists examined it in detail and publicly claimed it was a genuine biological specimen. They believed it was a new species, perhaps a relic hominid, possibly shot and preserved. The strange part? After attention grew, the exhibit was suddenly pulled, and a replacement was brought in. This one clearly a replica. The original was never seen again. No samples, no trace, just photos and eyewitness accounts. Some claimed the government got involved, others believe it was quietly bought and hidden by a private collector. The story sounds like fiction, but there are real photographs, real testimonies, and professional scientists who went on record saying what they saw was alive once. The Iceman wasn't just a sideshow. It might have been our only glimpse at a living fossil, frozen in time and pulled back behind the curtain before the world could find out what it truly was. During the Vietnam War, American soldiers reported more than just enemies in the dense jungle. In the remote highlands, troops claimed they encountered upright, hairy, human-like beings watching them from the trees. Locals already had a name for these creatures, the Batutut. Described as around 5 to 6 feet tall, covered in reddish or dark hair, and walking on 2 legs, the Batutut had no known match in the region's animal kingdom. They left behind footprints with a clearly defined arch, and some patrol units even claimed to have exchanged rocks or hostile gestures with them, encounters that were logged in field reports but never made public. Later expeditions by Vietnamese scientists recorded similar sightings, with some going so far as to say they observed the creatures from a distance. The Batutut were never captured, but they left behind broken branches, strange nests, and audio recordings of calls that didn't match known wildlife. Cryptozoologists believe the Batutut could be a surviving relic hominid, something between ape and early man. If real, it would rewrite the timeline of human evolution in Southeast Asia. Whether it's a living fossil, a regional offshoot, or something even more unique, the Batutut is a chilling reminder that even now, there are beings in the forest we can't explain, and possibly were never meant to find. In 2006, something monstrous washed ashore on Sakhalin Island in eastern Russia. It didn't look like any known sea creature, at least not one we've ever classified. The massive, decaying mass had grayish flesh, what looked like thick hair or fur. a long skeletal structure, and a face that was almost humanoid. Locals first thought it was a whale carcass until scientists got involved and ruled that out. It didn't match any known marine mammal, fish, or reptile. The body was so large and unidentifiable that it sparked panic across social media, with people calling it a sea monster, a failed experiment, or something that shouldn't exist. Samples were reportedly taken, but no official results were released. The carcass eventually disappeared. No one knows whether it was destroyed, buried, or quietly taken away. Marine biologists offered theories ranging from decomposed basking sharks to beached squid, but none of them matched the size, hair, or facial structure shown in the photos. What's disturbing is how often these globsters, massive, unknown marine creatures, wash up and vanish, with no follow-up. The Sakhalin carcass might have been something from Earth's distant past, or something still swimming in the deep, far from where we ever dare to look. For over 250 years, people have reported seeing a strange winged creature lurking in the pine barrens of New Jersey. With glowing red eyes, leathery wings, a long neck, and a scream that sends chills down the spine, the Jersey Devil has become part of local folklore. But something changed in the 2000s. People started claiming they had photographic evidence. Trail cams set up to monitor deer and coyotes began picking up unexplained shapes in the night. One frame showed a tall, bird-like figure with clawed feet and outstretched wings, standing upright in the middle of a forest clearing. Another showed what looked like a large airborne creature with a tail and elongated limbs. Experts tried to brush off the images as owls or digital glitches. But the detail in some of the photos went beyond shadows and coincidences. A few were even released to the public, drawing comparisons to century-old illustrations of the creature. Could the Jersey Devil be more than legend, an unknown species hiding in plain sight, only stepping out under cover of darkness? If real, it wouldn't just be a strange animal, it would mean something completely unrecorded by science is out there, flying just past our understanding, and maybe watching from the trees right now. In 2009, a group of teenagers exploring near a cave in Cerro Azul, Panama, stumbled upon something that looked like it came straight out of science fiction. At first, they thought it was a hairless animal. Then it moved. The creature crawled toward them on all fours, its pale, rubbery skin glistening, limbs too long for its body and no fur, claws, or tail. Nothing familiar. Panicked, they reportedly threw rocks and fled, later returning to find it lifeless. Photos of the body quickly went viral. It didn't match any known species, not a sloth, monkey, or anything native to Panama. What stood out was the humanoid shape. Its limbs were thin and jointed like ours. Its face was flat, with a recessed nose and a strange mouth, almost human but not quite. Biologists examined the photos and offered theories, maybe a diseased animal, or a decomposing sloth. But none of the explanations matched the creature's features. Its skin was intact. Its structure was wrong. To this day, no official answer has been confirmed. The story faded, but the photos remain, clear, unedited, and deeply unsettling. Whether it was a genetic anomaly, an unknown species, or something even stranger, the Cerro Azul humanoid was seen, photographed, and then gone, like it was never supposed to be found. In 1960, the coast of Tasmania played host to something truly bizarre. A massive, blubbery carcass washed ashore, around 20 feet long, featureless at first glance, until they noticed the strange hair-like fibers covering its body, and a row of jagged, uneven teeth inside what looked like a beak-shaped mouth. It wasn't a whale or anything remotely close. Locals dubbed it a globster, a term used for massive, unidentifiable organic matter that occasionally appears on shores worldwide. But this one was different. It had bones. It had muscle tissue. It had teeth. Scientists at the time examined the creature but couldn't reach a clear conclusion. The flesh didn't match any known marine animal. Some said it resembled an undiscovered type of sea mammal or an ancient predator we believed extinct, and then it vanished. The remains were removed, and like many globsters before and after it, the Tasmanian creature faded into mystery. But the photos survive, grainy but detailed enough to raise questions science still can't answer. If it wasn't a hoax, then something massive and carnivorous may still be hiding in the southern oceans, surfacing only when it's already too late to study. In the deep jungles of Papua New Guinea, villagers have passed down stories of a flying creature they call the ropen. Described as a large leathery winged animal with a long tail and a bioluminescent glow, it's been part of tribal lore for generations. But in recent decades, those stories have been backed up by real sightings, by locals and foreign researchers alike. Some explorers claim to have seen the creature soaring over the treetops at night, its wingspan estimated at over 15 feet. Others captured glowing orbs in the sky, moving in patterns no bird or bat could mimic. The Ropin is often described as looking like a living pterosaur, an ancient flying reptile thought to have died out millions of years ago. But sightings have continued, especially around Mount Bell, Umboy Island, and surrounding regions. In one case, a missionary captured a blurred photo of a massive winged form above the tree line. Locals say the creature eats fish, sometimes livestock, and nests in cliffs no human dares to climb. Some believe the Ropin is a leftover species from the age of dinosaurs. Others think it's something more advanced, possibly not even native to Earth. Whatever it is, the Ropin refuses to be written off as myth. It's been seen, followed, and feared, and it may still be circling above just out of reach. In 2008, a strange, bloated creature washed up on the beach in Montauk, New York, and set the internet on fire. It had a beak-like snout, exposed teeth, and leathery skin. No fur, no feathers, just something that didn't fit. Experts guessed raccoon, dog, or sea turtle, none of which matched the creature's full anatomy. Then without warning, the body vanished. No lab analysis, no official follow-up, just blurry photos and endless theories. Was it a mutated test subject from the nearby Plum Island research facility? A sea creature we've never cataloged? Or something not from here at all? No one ever proved what it was. That's about it. Do you believe in alien intelligent life? Write in the comments. For more useful information, watch other videos.